Good afternoon. Welcome to episode 27 of the Sativa Segment. I'm your host, Richard Cheng. The VARIN team, welcome.
Here we are.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, I'm excited. You're never in town.
I'm never in town, but every time I am in town, you somehow know that I'm in town. There's like 5 people in the whole world know that I'm in America right now, and somehow you know.
Hey, I'm not going to tell you how I track you. But that's
probably for the best.
That's between me, myself, and the technology that I use.
That's fine. That's fine.
I'm like, Tyler's in town. I'm gonna give Zach, shoot Zach a text message, see if you guys want to come on the show.
Well, we caught me for the few days that I'm here, and then actually this Saturday I hop on a plane and fly back to India, where I'll be for a while, and then to Thailand, and then back to Portugal, and then back here to Dallas. So.
Well, I'm glad we were able to catch each other. I'm actually leaving tonight for a trip to Houston to play in a tennis tournament. So we caught each other just in time.
It's that cosmic planetary alignment that's going on right now.
Can't ruin God's plan.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And I've known Zach. I've known you for a while. I actually met you when I was representing the Texas Cannabis Industry Association, and we met each other. You came to me for some personal concerns.
You helped out.
And then the relationship grew from there. And of course I met Ty through representing VARIN. And so welcome. Let's talk about each of you and how you guys really came into the cannabis industry, and I just want to get to know you more on a personal level, because I do work for you guys and I've known Zach for a little bit. But I know less about you, Tyler. I know less about you, Ty. And I know there's a fourth partner. His name's Corey.
Yep.
But how did you guys all kind of come together and say, hey, we're gonna make a drink called VARIN, and we want to dive deep into the cannabis industry?
Yeah, that's there's a lot to unpack right there. That's a long story, but
give me the Cliff Notes version.
Cliff Notes, yeah. So I can just speak me personally. When I jumped into the cannabis industry, first Corey and I, which he's here in spirit, fifth guy spirit, but he's out of the state right now. But him and I wanted to jump in back in 2013. We ended up staying in Texas and not moving to Colorado, and then we learned of the Compassionate Use Act in 2015 passing. We learned that in January of 2016. We just kind of did our due diligence, like what is CBD? How do we get involved? How do we bring it to Texas? And that led us to going to a convention in Fort Worth that year, which was really odd back then because it's a very conservative county. But we just felt like that was all right. Well, let's go check this out. And so
I think I know which one you're talking about. That was actually
it was like the first one.
It was either the first or second one, and that was actually when I got in contact with the TCIA.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, same
and
one.
That's how that whole the genesis of that relationship happened. And so I know exactly what you're talking about.
And man, that is the day that changed my life. I knew I wanted to do this. I want to give you the Cliff Notes, but I really did learn about several people who were able to get health benefits from CBD and all the different cannabinoids at the time, either intractable epilepsy or a veteran able to wean off 7 or 8 pills, just utilizing cannabis. Long story short, unfortunately, that veteran was unable to get his medicine due to his med card expiring. And this panel of nurses, one of the nurses was telling us the story, and she became friends with him, was selling his medicine to him monthly. But his med card expired. He couldn't get his medicine. Found out 2 weeks later that he had committed suicide.
Okay.
And I turned to Corey and I said, this is what I want to do the rest of my life. For me personally, my father, both my uncles committed suicide at a young age, me at a young age. I had some friends OD or commit suicide, and we've all lost people to cancer. And so just all this kind of hit me at once, and I just knew this is what I wanted to do. And so my journey started there, met up with Dr. Greg, and then we connected in 2019. Through the actually EarthX, met one of his mutual friends, and then he introduced me to Tyler, and literally, I mean, we met on a phone call. I flew him out the next day. Like, I was like, this is my guy. And we started Turtle Leaf Farms up in Oklahoma. We started growing out there, built the whole farm, greenhouse, indoor. It's just a crazy market up there. And prior to that, though, I was talking with legislators down here. Sid Miller had private meetings with him, and great conversations. But Texas was just kind of slow rolling, getting legislation passed here. And so that's what forces up there. And we did that for the last 4 or 5 years. He became a part of that journey when we transferred from that farm into what now you see as VARIN. And we have always been, because of Dr. Greg, he has a few books online, and he talks about different cannabinoids, and one of them was THC-V. And THC-V is the number one for appetite suppression, weight management, blood sugar management. And so we always kind of knew that was what we wanted to accomplish with in the industry, but it was a very rare cannabinoid, very expensive to get to make an affordable product. And then last year we really found out that we could, and working with Dr. Greg and some people that he had been working with on clinical trials brought us to our first product, which are these THC-V soft gels that we brought here. And there's actually studies behind these that show weight management, blood sugar management. And so that's kind of where it started. And then from there, we, because, different cannabinoids have different health benefits due to dosing, we knew it had stimulant effects too. And so we really wanted to attack not only weight management and blood sugar management, but go after energy and vitality with it. And so it led us to creating an energy drink. And what kind of sets us apart, this one is non-intoxicating. We utilize THC-V, but we have other nootropics in there, no caffeine, no sugar. We have lion's mane and B12, and so that's something we're real proud of. But then that led us into taking advantage of the hemp-derived D9 market. And now we're in over, I think, 300 locations. Majority of are here in Texas. But we've just signed agreements in four or five new states for distribution.
Isn't varinolic cannabinoids, isn't it for an anti-inflammatory too?
So the CBD is in the drink, but really the THC-V and CBD-V are really we're focusing it on the weight management and blood sugar management.
I want to get to Tyler. I mean, I know you're just all over the place. You're Portugal, Vietnam, or Thailand, whatever.
Thailand, yeah.
Tell me about your journey, because I don't think you came from the cannabis industry, did you, or historically?
Yeah, so my journey has been a meandering path of happy accidents, I would say. My background is actually in restaurants, and so I was in the restaurant industry in Denver, restaurateur, specifically in the wine industry, and that led me into burning out, flaming out in grand fashion, and realizing that I wanted to go an alternate route. So I taught myself code and database science and software development, and I ended up building a online media company for the cannabis industry, actually in Denver. So I went from restaurants in Denver, where I was born and raised, into the cannabis industry, but I was never working with plants. So we built an online radio station and the first full service media company for the cannabis industry in the world. In Denver, cannabis went fully legal in 2014. So we saw that coming, and one of my close friends that I went to high school with and junior high with and elementary school with, he owns the biggest chains of dispensaries in Colorado. And so we saw the opportunity to partner and create this full service media industry for the cannabis industry. And so with my background in coding and engineering and everything, I built the online platform. We turned it on. And so not only were we doing, online radio and media and marketing, we were also doing event production and brand management and marketing management for all of these dispensaries. And so I was a part of that company. We grew it from zero to, pretty impressive stats within 18 months. And then it came to midway through 2015. Where we grew it very sizably. All of the biggest, cannabis brands, the early cannabis brands, they were all our clients. So I saw firsthand, what is the composition of a successful cannabis startup? Because, we were doing all of their media and their marketing, their ad spend, their event production. We were doing everything. We were the fuel behind a lot of their growth. The CBD companies, the cannabis companies, the consumer packaged good CBD companies, but then also, of course, the dispensaries themselves. Yeah. But I got a front row seat behind all of these different companies and what are their operations and how do they go from 0 to 1 and 1 to 100? What's that recipe? So that was a really cool seat that I got to have during the explosion of cannabis in Colorado. And so that was really, I was really fortunate to observe that But midway through 2015, again, I just I was flaming out just in terms of energy, and I realized that the work that I wanted to do in that industry and in growing that business was complete. So I actually exited the company, and through my exit, through releasing my stake, I took a sum of capital with me, and I ended up I was gonna just take a 1 month hiatus and leave Colorado and go to India.
Okay.
Because I'd never been outside of the U.S. before. Okay, I'll give you the cliff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So the travel bug hit you.
yeah,
late in
and I'll
life.
give you the Cliff Notes version of this, but it leads to how I met Zach. But in 2015, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna go to India for 1 month. I'm just gonna go for 1 month. I'm gonna go to the Himalayas. I'm gonna do some yoga. I'm gonna chill. And then
Hang out with the Dalai Lama.
Yeah, and I'm like, I'll be right back. Literally, I told my friends in Denver, like, I'll be right back. I told my parents I had a return ticket. Like, I had basically a backpack that I went to India with. Okay, that was in August of 2015, and I've still never come back. So that's when I left the States. Okay. And so for 10 years, I haven't.
But you didn't live in India though.
No, I stayed there for 6 months. So I ended up staying in India for 6 months. That led me to Thailand, where I stayed for 18 months. Okay. So for 2 years, I just took a 2-year break from all work and just studied yoga and literally was living in ashrams. Like wow. just going deep into the study of yoga. Okay. But during that time, I had an idea for a technology company in agriculture technology. Okay. But my background is in software, but I wanted to build basically soil sensors that measures the electroconductivity and the pH and the nutrient composition of soil. So I needed to find a partner, a technology partner, to build my hardware for me. Okay, so I started, looking for different partners and ended up finding a partner in India who is an IoT, Internet of Things, and AI product development company. We partnered. I created my technology business, EYC Labs, and grew that. Then that's when I moved back to India, because that's where that company was. And I lived in India for 2 years. So I lived in India for all of 2017 and all of 2018, grew EYC Labs. We went into multiple countries. We won multiple awards. Like we did, we're working with the Nepal government, the Indian government, and grew the team from 0 to 150 developers. We won Startup of the Year in India in 2019. Like we exploded. Okay. I just came back to Colorado for like a weekend in 2019. I had been in India for, going on 2.5 years. I came back, and one of my business partners in EYC Labs lives here in Dallas. Okay. He's a silent partner of EYC Labs. That's the friend that Zach was just referencing a moment ago that introduced us. So I just happened to be in Colorado, and our mutual friend was like, hey, I'm at EarthX, and I just met this guy, Zach, who reminds me of you. He's super passionate. He's like entrepreneurial. He's into the cannabis space. And I was like, cannabis space. Whoa. Like I played that game. I played that level. I beat the level on hard mode. Like I'm good. Like I don't want to go back into the industry. But our mutual friend was like, oh, just meet Zach. Like, just meet him. Just take a phone call with him. And so I was like, all right, I'll take a phone call with him. And so, our mutual friend got us on the phone together, and is exactly as Zach said. Like the second I started speaking with Zach, I was like, absolutely, I want to help you out. Because, he's from more of like a grassroots visionary, like I have this idea, I have this passion, I have this, very like beautiful cause, with his background and like his why story. My background is in core operations and, core business development and growing companies and, going from 0, like I was saying, to 1. And so when I, met Zach, I was like, you are the type of person who succeeds in this industry. Again, like I saw the composition or like the magic of what a successful, chief visionary and what type of integrity propels a business forward to success in this industry, which can be very challenging and has its own unique sort of nuances that are different from traditional business. Those nuances are what led me away from the industry originally, because I was just like, this isn't the type of industry that I want to be involved in. Right. But then when I met Zach, I was like, but this is the kind of man who actually like can win and will win. And just like an investment, like a lot of times with investors, you bet on the jockey, right? You bet on the engine, you bet on the driver. And when I met Zach, I was like, this is
Yeah.
driver. So we partnered on Turtle Leaf, and then I was still running my tech company. So I was still living in India when him and I met, and we started the farm up in Oklahoma. He was running it day to day, but I was always working on it from afar, doing all of the financial management and, you know, consulting on operations and everything.
Yeah.
And then real quick to sum it up, in 2020, I ended up exiting my tech company. We were acquired. We had a big acquisition, which was amazing. And that's when I bought a farm in Portugal. And so since 2020, I've been living in Portugal. We have
My cousin lives in Portugal.
Where?
Oh, really?
Where
In
about?
Lisbon. Yeah. So
Yes.
I went to go visit her and her husband a couple years ago.
Cool.
Yeah.
So we're just north of Lisbon. So
We should all take a trip. 'cause I've
yeah,
been wanting to.
exactly.
No kidding.
Yeah,
right?
but to wrap this up, and so yeah, in 2020, bought a farm out there and opened a retreat center and a yoga retreat center and a farm, and
Wow.
that's, you know, started thriving even in the midst of COVID. I had my developers build us an online learning portal where we put all of our teachings online, and so even though we couldn't have on-site retreats, you know, we were still doing all of this, you know, teachings online, and we, you know, did phenomenally well. And, you know, Zach and I have always, of course, been working together, and we've always wanted to do THC-V, but it was cost prohibitive before because a kilogram of THC-V was $100,000 when we were first trying to do this, you know, in the days of Turtle Leaf. And it was funny because back then in like 2019, I was up in Nepal when we were talking about doing, because I was working with the government of Nepal on their agriculture policy. And I was meeting with the Minister of Agriculture in Nepal at the Prime Minister's private residence. And I was on a call with Zach, and he's like, yeah, we're trying to find THC-V. So like I was going to go and start trying to find these like THC-V strains that were only native to like that part of the world. So I was going to go try to find seeds for our THC-V because it was so expensive. So we've wanted to do this for a long time, but like Zach was saying, only now is the cost of THC-V, you know, to a point where we can productize it, where we can actually
Where
put
do
it
you
in
get
the
your
product.
THC-V?
So we have a natural source. It's one of the only natural sources.
And
I
before
know
you get
of.
too far down the road, I want to talk to Ty about his
Yeah.
background, how he got incorporated.
But yeah, we get it from a natural source out of Colorado. He's one of the only, if not the only in the world that I know of that's actually, because a lot of THCV is synthetic, but ours is actually naturally derived. So that's where we get it from.
I want to circle back to that, but I want to talk to Ty. I know you went to A&M, and you're local. You're a Texan.
Mm-hmm.
How did you get hooked up with this crew?
Yeah, I know. It's kind of interesting. So I met kind of through friends, met a friend, met another friend, and then through our partner, Corey, I met Zach. Probably, I guess it's been about 6 years ago, something like that, 5 or 6 years
time
ago.
flies,
You know, heard that he was in the cannabis industry. Only experience I had is smoking it. You know, knew nothing about it. So, you know, I've kind of listened to some of his conversations around cannabis. I've learned a lot about it, which is, you know, I'm still learning a lot. Still have so much.
So,
to
what
learn.
is your role within VARIN? I guess what is it that I'm sure every one of you have like strengths and weaknesses, and you guys play a different position within VARIN. I kind of have an idea of where you guys fit into it, but what about you, Ty?
Yeah, right now, so I have another job full time
Okay.
in IT, so I'm in technology as well.
There we go.
I haven't built up a company the way Tyler has or anything like that, but I deal with communication software and manage a large team for a bank.
Okay.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I want to circle back to the THC-V because that's my understanding is that THC-V is a naturally occurring cannabinoid, but most of the THC-V that people buy, is it mostly like a distillate, or do they create it from a synthetic source? Or tell me about what makes your THC-V a little bit different than the other THC-V that's out in the market.
Absolutely. So actually, these soft gels is a naturally occurring oil that we get from a source through Dr. Greg, a source that we met through Dr. Greg, and it is just a natural oil.
Okay.
And so what we've done though is we've taken the composition of this oil, which is roughly, and this is why we're doing a lot. So with this oil, it's roughly about 8 milligrams of VARIN. So THC-V and CBD-V, which there's a lot of people within the space scientifically that believe CBD-V have the same effects as THC-V. And so it also has about 50 milligrams of CBD. But because it is a natural, it's not precise every time, right? And so what we wanted to do is create an actual medicine. So we've taken that as a baseline, and we've actually formulated our capsules called VARIN Sleep and Slim. So Slim is our daytime version. And what we've done is we've essentially doubled and had a precise amount through nanotechnology. So we take the CBD-V isolate through our source, and then we nanoparticleize it. And so we do 15 milligrams of the varins.
Yep.
And then we have the same amount of CBD in there, 50 milligrams. And then with our sleep, we're actually adding CBN to it and keeping the varins the same dosing as these. And then we have some other ingredients that are in there, but we have a product, an ingredient called VARIN Plus that we don't want to really reveal under the hood, but it is giving us the purest and the most bioavailability THC-V out on the market. And so we're taking that and we're putting that not only into capsules, but we have some other products in our portfolio that we're going to be releasing this year, and really kind of focusing not only with the cannabis and the hemp space, but really making that transition that we kind of see happening right now into the natural supplement market, and really getting into the mainstream. And so we've got strategic partners that we've been working with as far as getting our product out there. Like I said, we are in a little over 300 locations right now with we call them our fun drinks, right? It's got the hemp derived D9. But then with our clean energy drink that does not have THC, and we've added a functional mushroom, like I said, lion's mane. And then of course with our capsules and some of the other exciting products that we're not quite ready to announce yet, but we really are trying to focus on just showing people that there is a natural, healthier way to attack some of the ailments that we deal with, just like other people are doing this.
You know what makes me, what made me realize as you're talking is that what makes your company a little bit different than some of the other guests I've had on here, and even just some of the players that I know in the industry. I've been in this industry for 11 years now. Is that you have these different lines. For example, you said you had a line that doesn't have any THC in it. And then you have a slim, you have a sleep, and you have all these different approaches. And what really strikes out to me is, as you know, or you may not know, but Texas has they have a couple proposed ban bills for THC.
Yeah.
Hypothetically, if one of them goes through and the psychoactive space is more limited, one ship, right, could be impacted, but the others kind of continue as is.
To that, so you were talking about the lines. So our products actually fall into 3 categories: energy, vitality, and life. And so when we first founded the company, we had no intentions of actually creating a THC product. We wanted to do only THC-V forward, which is a non-psychoactive compound. Now at 50 milligrams, you might feel an effect, but at the amounts that we're putting into our products, there is no effect. Okay. There's an effect on the body's system and the functionality, and again, and weight management and appetite suppression and blood sugar management and these things, absolutely. And that's why we're going to market with these products. But the THC opportunity just came to us because as we're growing, we're aligning with certain strategic partners very early in our growth story or our growth trajectory. And it just so happened that one of the strategic partners that we aligned with very early is a very matured product development and distribution company actually here in Dallas. And we were talking to them and we just saw an opportunity in the THC beverage space that is completely open because there is no THC-V beverage in the THC space. So we've only gone to market with the THC beverages as essentially just a propulsion into the market for brand awareness. But 2025 is when we're focusing heavily on commercializing now the non-THC side of the business into that natural supplement space, which, the market, the total addressable market is, $150 billion on that side of the equation. And so that's what we're going after now. And so, of course, the THC beverages are very important to us. And we're going to continue to grow that and, water that and allow that to flourish, as Zach was saying.
We're going to keep supplying.
People love them. I mean, we've been in business for months. That's it. And we are already, again, like we just signed with 5 other states. We're currently in 3. You know, we're blowing our projections out of the water. Like our growth right now is just phenomenal, and it's because of the popularity of the drinks and also the effect. You know, the people who take our drinks, they feel a very euphoric, focused high because we put L-theanine, which is a nootropic. We put that with a natural stimulant called theobromine, which if you've ever had dark chocolate, the stimulant in dark chocolate is theobromine. Theobromine is one of the 3 metabolites of caffeine. So when you ingest caffeine, it becomes 3 different products, 3 different metabolites inside of your body. One is theobromine. So we've taken the isolated theobromine, mixed it with L-theanine, which gives you a very signature focused euphoric effect. And so the reorder on our drinks are through the roof right now. And so of course we, you know, said, okay, we're going to focus on THC, you know, drinks for a little while as we get going. But now, as Zach was saying, behind the scenes, you know, we've been working on VARIN Plus, which is our proprietary IP, and that's the real magic, mixing THC-V with CBD-V and a naturally
There's a
occurring
CBD-V?
Yeah.
I know that. That's the first time I've ever heard of it.
Yeah. There's a CBDV, but anyways, and so, you know, the name of the game in 2025 is getting back to our core business model of non-THC products, which, you know, we're working on deals right now with big box retailers, you know, similar to the GNCs and the vitamin shops and these type of you know, distributors that are going into those locations. But, you know, of course, we're all about hedging liabilities and making sure that, you know, we're hedging ourselves against what could happen and staying ahead of compliance. And of course, through your legal counsel, which is phenomenal, which has been incredible since day one. Well, I mean, really, and you've helped guide us, you know, through the compliance. But like, if THC goes away in a certain state, like we're prepared for that and we've planned for that. We have playbook A, B, C, and D in terms of contingency plans and what would happen. But we're in so many different states, or we're about to be in so many different states. But as we're rolling out, like, okay, it's whack-a-mole. Like if Texas goes down for THC beverages, well, we're still already in all of these other states for THC beverages.
Established regulation.
Yeah, who's already established regulation. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's the key with, you know, I mean, I have other clients that have, you know, they hire us to do like these 50-state surveys. When one state kind of gets amended, they just up the ante in another state that has a better demographic to serve, right? I know we're on budgeted time, so I want to talk about how you guys grew. In terms of, did you have any capital backing from a third party, or was it just all bootstrapping efforts between the 4 of you, I guess?
That was one of the major roles with Ty and with Corey. So that got us our bootstrapping funding and really kind of catapulted us into, we've just been operating off of that and then off of our recurring revenue.
Yeah, so we were self-funded, and we've taken a little bit of funding from friends and family, basically, but we haven't actually formally engaged in any type of the fundraising round. We haven't, you know, approached, of course, institutional. We're not quite ready in terms of our, you know, our growth stage for institutional capital yet, but here very soon, because of where we're at and where we're going with the non-THC side, we are actually about to start a Series A. And so that's going to be happening here in Q1. So we are actually about to enter our first formal fundraising round. And, you know, I've been through many. I raised capital for, you know, a few of my businesses in the past. And so it's something that, you know, I'm very familiar with. And so, again, something that, thank you, you'll be supporting us with in terms of, you know.
When we were building this out, we're like, all right, we need legal. I was like, I got a guy.
I remember you called me, and I was on vacation with my kids in Las Vegas.
That's right. Yeah, you were in Vegas. That's right.
And we had this, I forgot who
was that during F1? Were you there for F1? Or I forgot what.
You know, it's funny. I got there, and it was a complete nightmare of a trip because F1 just ended, but all the stuff was still there. And the residuals of F1
that's what it
was all, it was a complete debacle. And that was my kids' first experience in Vegas. And they're like, oh, this place is a mess. I'm like, yeah, I know. It's not what it's supposed to be. But I remember you calling me, and we talked about a few things. We talked about like a management structure, if you remember, and a couple other things. And there was someone else on the phone with you. It's one of you two.
It was Ty.
Okay, and I know that was the beginning. It was really kind of the genesis of our relationship in terms of doing legal work, and then it progressed from there. again, we're on budgeted time, but I want to talk about how you guys market and how you guys plan to grow in 2025, and we'll wrap it up there.
Absolutely. Yeah, actually, I'll let Tyler take that one.
Sure. So, how we've been able to grow so fast so far is just through strategic partnerships with people who are already matured in the space.
Yeah.
And so we've been able to, like atoms gaining mass, like we've been able to align with very incredible operators and distributors in the THC beverage space, which is
I like to add individuals just personally, just great people.
And great people,
in the space.
Of course, and great people in the space. And so, we've been able to literally have our products pulled out of our hands and into the market because of the quality of the product, but also just because of established distributors who are already in the space, who had those channels of distribution already matured. Yep. Okay, so we were able to line with them. We were able to get very, very, very crafty in terms of how we're funding like our purchase orders. We aligned with a purchase order funding group. Okay. That's allowed us to, take short-term loans out against our POs, which when you're in the consumer packaged goods business and you have, you're dealing with massive quantities of inventory and, delayed 30 to 60-day payment terms, you have a lot of inventory you got to build before you're actually, collecting on that cash. Right. And so we've been able to solve that with, short-term PO financing loans through this investment group, which has been wonderful. And so, in 2025, our growth strategy is just to continue doing what we're doing, aligning with on the business to business side, wholesale side, just keep aligning with strategic distributors, signing deals the way that we're doing, and just allowing these distributors to introduce the products into the market, and then to allow what's happening in those markets. The same thing that happened here in Texas and Oklahoma and New Mexico, just, very natural growth. We're actually this year, we're not planning on hiring salespeople. We're planning on hiring educators, bringing in educators into the team who go into each of those markets that we sign distribution agreements with, and they go and educate on the product. They educate the retailers, they educate the distributors, they educate the customers, doing tastings and panel discussions. Zach's going to lead the whole education program. And so, we're going to make sure that the distributors have the support that they need. So THC-V is educated upon, because THC-V right now is where CBD was 5 to 7 years ago. When CBD first came out, no one knew anything, but then Charlotte's Web happened. Charlotte's Web gained all of this press and all of this attention. And now all of a sudden, what's the company behind CBD, which is, curing epilepsy? Oh, it's Charlotte's Web. Okay, so there's an education piece that needs to happen around THC-V in terms of its effectiveness in weight loss and appetite, control and blood sugar management. And so, we're going to be, rolling out a huge education piece there. But then on the direct to consumer side, we're going to do the traditional, build the online presence, build the online store, start selling our products online, traditional sort of like D2C digital, marketing and growth and that sort of thing. But really that core substance of us rolling out is just starting to transition into doing partnership agreements with all of these strategic distributors now in the natural supplement space. So we're not only hitting the CBD side, but we're hitting the natural supplement nootropic side as well, and expanding into that total addressable market, which is a monster.
Yeah, and just kind of tack onto that, what's going on with hemp-derived THC products is it's going to these beer and liquor distributors who don't have the education, right? And so us educating them and them getting out, and they've already have established, some of these companies are over 100 years old.
If they're better educated, the theory is that they're going to maybe not directly push your products, but when consumers are hitting them up for information, it's an easier transition to that conversation.
And we're all looking for like a healthier energy drink too, right? So we talk about being in a clean energy focused high. That's like, wow, that really grabs their attention. Like, and also we're really being strategic on like shows and conventions that we do. So we are going to be at WSWA in Denver, the 3rd through the 5th, which a lot of the largest liquor distributors around the country come to. So we're being really intentional. Okay. And then we're going to be at Champs as well. And then just really be very selective on where we go throughout the year and those kind of.
And just one more point on the growth strategy, and I know we're budgeted on time, but this is very important. You know, anytime you can ride an existing wave in the market, it helps your product gain adoption that much easier. And right now, of course, in the market, everyone knows about GLP-1, Ozempic. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we have clinical trials that back our products because, again, VARIN is backed by science. We have a chief medical doctor on our staff who guides the formulation of everything that we're doing. Like, all of our products have ingredients that are there for a reason.
Yeah.
Okay. And THC-V in clinical trials, which we have published on varinlife.com on our website, we have our clinical trials published that show results that are on par with these GLP-1 drugs. Okay. So in terms of our growth strategy of 2025, it's just continuing to say, okay, you know, here is how this could be a potential alternative to a prescription GLP-1 drug that's naturally derived. Here are the results that it does show, not only from clinical trials, but from our customers already. Every single day, Zach's showing me text messages, our Instagram, our Facebook, our inbox. Every single day, we're getting messages from people every day, unsolicited, saying how it's changing their life, how they're off of their Adderall, how they're off of, XYZ.
Actually, that's a whole other thing.
Yeah,
and because
every single day.
There's no studies behind it. I don't really putting that claim out there, but we have had at least 5 people tell us that they've been able, 2 of them were prior to using our product, but saying that THC-V helped them stop taking Adderall.
That's so wonderful that you guys
3
are
of them
changing
after
lives.
taking our
Yeah,
product.
I mean,
Yeah,
that's
it's just
very
amazing.
powerful stuff.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that you guys are able to share your message. With that said, I want to wish you a safe trip back to Portugal or India or Thailand or, you know, all the places that you live in. And I'm really glad that I had a chance to sit down with you guys because I know that you're not in town a whole lot. Yeah. And I'm glad that we had a chance to get this.
Well, we really appreciate you. And so we're going to let you take some of these home.
I appreciate that.
Yeah,
Thank you. Yeah, I'm going to enjoy it.
Yes, please do. Man.
Yeah. Well, that sums it up. And we'll be in touch. You know where to find me.
Absolutely. Well,
And you know when I'm here.
That's right. I already know when you're here. That's right.
It's 6 cents or something.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.